Hi everyone, welcome to our career workshop for the brain injured and mentally ill. We're going to get you off the couch doing something and committing to yourself. The number one thing I want you to remember is that brain rehab is a thing. To what extent, giving any individual person's situations, that's up to the doctors and your effort. Recovery comes in 3 stages. Can you work, which is determined by the doctors? Will you work, which is complicated by a few I don't want us. And then what can you do? Those 3 things determine how much capacity you have as you go along. So this is Digital Kurt. I'm Kurt Killen, and we're going to have a lot of fun with Digital Kurt. He's going to do things I won't do. And then the workshop here is for 4 different types of people. So we've got the brain injured or mentally ill people themselves, which is just, that's who it's primarily designed for. But there's also the caregivers of those people, so spouses, significant others, parents, trustees, those sorts of things. The other one is professional caregivers, which can include occupational therapists, physiotherapists, social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, other medical doctors, that sort of thing. The one thing that is not well known is stakeholders. So stakeholders would include insurance people, government people, and up to lenders. So Digital Kurt and I are trainers of Biomi. Now, Biomi is a term that we use to describe brain injured or mentally ill, so we don't have to say the whole thing multiple times. Our innovation is the success of Biomis. And if that happens, we're quite happy. So my name is Kurt Killen again, and I identify as male, and I'm 49 years old. I've had both concussions and mental illness, and usually there's studies that correlate the two. I'm not sure what it is, 25% or whatever, but a lot of times if you've had concussions, it can develop into some form of mental illness. And I was an 80s kid, so I would jump on trampolines. I'd be the highest one, bounced highest. We'd also ski moguls and play rough hockey. And by the time I got my driver's license at 16, within a few years, I'd had over a dozen car accidents. We didn't examine what that meant back in the day, but some good things happened along the way. So in January 1995, medications were introduced. Considering the history of how we treated people with mental illness before, I think the fact that we now have medications to help people is a tremendous boon to recovery. We had a lot of people that were institutionalized before, and now we don't have that. When I had my breakdown in January 95, medications that were approved 1 year earlier that reduced the relapses. And so that can increase the coping and functioning of people. That gets you to what can you do, but there's so much uncertainty because you don't know what your capacity will be. We're going to give you a couple rules here. Rule 1 is take your medications. As we'll see, a large part of my success was taking those medications on a daily basis. I'm going to predict that there's going to be an avalanche of people coming down the pipes. There's my kick at the flames and my Pro Oil pump. There's going to be so many people doing really well that we're going to have to adjust society to manage and deal with that. And as well, sometimes there's a genetic component, so the kids of those people that are doing well will also need care and attention. But I think we're going in the right direction. Just give you a couple of caveats here. I'm not a doctor. I stay clear of anything medical. We stay away from suicide discussions, and we stay away from addiction issues. I'm a lived experience survivor and thriver, and I've overcoming my Biomi. And I have done what you need to do. I did it for 15 years, and I've been ill for over 25, 30 years. We had to focus down on what exactly we could do to help you. So we focused strictly on income options for Biomis. So tongue-in-cheek, this is rule 2, off the couch. We create self-supporting routines and habits in our lifestyle. So rule 2 is drink lots of fluids. So you need people who are Biomis to come to the kitchen table to have a discussion. If you don't get them to come to the table, then they're sitting on the couch doing what they want to do, and there's no give and take. So by drinking lots of fluids, sooner or later, you'll get up and you'll go to the washroom. And once you go to the washroom, you can come back and say, can we try again? Come to the table. So that's getting off the couch with self-supporting routines and habits. And as we go along, we'll learn some more. How we're going to remember every small part of this is with a meme. So, good boy, Dick, go play in traffic for a hug. So we've got good boy, Dick, encouragement. We've got hugs and humor, go play in traffic. And we've got taking a walk. Exercise is the secret sauce of all this. And as we'll find out, we have something better than exercise.
At this stage of the workshop, we would usually refer you to a Brightside video on YouTube titled, What Will Happen to Your Body If You Walk Every Day? They do great short videos on fun topics. We'll leave it in the notes below if you want to have a look. Unfortunately, we do not as yet have permission to reprint, but it basically says with a great video that walking is good, very good for you. We will point this out because it leads into what we will discuss with you later. If walking is this good, what we offer is even better.
So let's go through some of the doing somethings that I did and see if I was spinning my wheels or doing anything productive. Okay, so I got married in October 96. I wrote my first book in 97. First home, 2-bedroom condo, low-paying jobs from 94 when I got sick to 01. My son was born Samuel in 2000, and I went back to school. Spent $35,000, which very lucky was a retraining grant that I didn't have to repay, or because I didn't get into that industry. And then Alberta Motor Association was tow truck driving. I had two things. I could get a job in database administration or tow truck driving. I got the tow truck driving position, and I learned to work with big equipment and do really well, but I was still spinning my wheels. And then our daughter McKenna was born, so the urge to do better was constantly there. So I'm not going to hold you in suspense anymore. I'm going to tell you what doesn't work. So jobs just over broke, low pay, low self-esteem, they do not work. Full-time, too many hours, shift work, no downtime. I think I heard it said by someone who obviously doesn't have to work as hard as the rest of us, that you need 2.5 hours of personal time a day to feel comfortable. I don't know about anyone else, but it's hard to garner that all in. Doing it all, so if you were to take our secret sauce and get up in the morning at 5 a.m. and then go do your exercise and then go to work and then come home and have family time, you'd be hard pressed to fit it all in. And especially when you're ill, those things become difficult. So I noticed that too many people, we've got a small classroom size today, is nice, but I find that if you have over 5, 10, 15, 20 people that you've got to constantly pay attention to, it can be debilitating. Lots of responsibility or highly technical work, as discussed. Education, loans, and debt. I think the last statistic I heard was that only 27% of people in the States find careers in their field that after completing their education. So that tells you that, 73% are not finding what they went to school for. So here's the key thing about everything that you're doing. You've got competing things happening inside your life. Your energy levels are lower and you're struggling to improve at the same time. So this is the circle of strife. You see on the top left corner, you start in the red with Biomi, and then you get sick because you are a Biomi or injured, and you spend resources living and struggling, especially financially and emotionally. Those are the two ones that take people apart. This also strains the caregivers and the Biomi themselves, and then the long-term resources of that family, and they may need to receive support from the state in terms of medical care and financing and that sort of thing. Let's look at the center rectangle. The key struggles, if you'll notice, are health, confidence, self-esteem, accomplishments, your income and career, your lifestyle, medications, and love. So those relationships can really suffer, and a lot of those people can end up being quite alone. It's traumatic, and it doesn't have to be that way. So let me foreshadow what does work a little bit. What would your ideal job look like? We're going to build up and have some drama. So energy management, I told you your energy is limited. Your exercise, your income, and your therapy need to be rolled into one. And work a few hours a day, would that not be better for you? It needs to be project oriented. So if you do a project for a certain length of time and then have lots of downtime in between the next project, you need to come and go as you please. So you may get to work that day and say, I can't work or function, and you need to be able to leave on a moment's notice. If you do have young kids, the daycare costs of kids can be quite expensive, so you'd have to earn at least double that to make it worthwhile, or else you should stay home with your kids. But in today's world, people want lifestyle and things like that. We found a solution that's entrepreneurial but not too people-y. You need to be the boss so that when you start up or shut down the project and stuff, you can control it. And sometimes you need to be mentored on how to manage that. So this was my escape. Top left corner again. I started in January 95, got ill, and then we follow the arrow across the top. My girlfriend says if I take the medication, she'll hang around, and we did get married in October 96, and I'm happy to say we're still together. But we went through the cycle of strife from 96 to 2004, and those are the things that I discussed earlier of us doing something but spinning my wheels. So my wife had obtained her education and was excelling in her career, and I wasn't keeping up. So you're sitting at the table with other people, other professionals and stuff. A lot of people, this happens to housewives as well, or house husbands. You feel that you're not keeping up. So we escaped that cycle in spring of 2004, and I started painting. It seemed simple enough. The money was good. I had some self-esteem and lots of success and some challenges, and that gave me hope to continue. We'll go to the next slide here, and we'll see two sections of green. From 2004 to 2010, we had lifestyle. We had my son in hockey, and my daughter was a little rink rat. We were living, loving, and laughing. My son, when he was 10 years old, took me to Europe for a hockey trip. It was lots of fun. We moved into a bigger house. We had new vehicles. Our friends and family were surrounding us. We felt supported, and our careers were developing, and we had the second best lawn on the block. But we were prepared for more, and we got hit by the cycle of strife again. So the only reason I know what I know and how this all pans out is because my son got his third concussion in hockey, and our struggle to find that, parents going to the ends of the earth to find solutions for their children, it can be quite important. And quite a journey, and that's how I learned all this stuff that I'm dealing with and realized what had happened to me. Because back in the day, we just didn't think about this, you just kept going. So he left hockey, he tried some drugs, his personality was changing, and he flunked out of school, and he couldn't hold a job, and he was unmedicated. The green at the bottom, he escaped the cycle, he took meds in 2019, and he did really well as well. I'll tell you, everything's green except for the little red line there. I'll explain it. So in our house, everyone is medicated. My wife wishes she was medicated. My son has his own place. He has a job. He has a car, and he has a career. And my daughter is a teenager, but she's kicking butt in school and doing really well. My wife's career allowed me to create what I call PaintToSafety.com, and that is training for the disaffected who are brain injured or mentally ill to help cope and function and earn an income for themselves. So in 2019, which is right smack dab, we're in August here, I'm hanging up my paintbrush. I've got a few more jobs to do, and then I'll be calling her quits and just training people to brush, roll, and spray. I did injure my knee, so those life occurrences can still happen to anyone at any given time. It's functioning quite well now, but it's a long stand doing the presentation. In April of 2019, not to date the shoot here, but we had some health, relative wealth, and lifestyle. Our Calgary Flames did well, and I published 3 books. We got lots of videos and the website, and we're training others how to survive and thrive and overcome their struggle of being a Biomi and their own cycle of strife. So we want you to commit to yourself. We need you to get off the couch. There is hope. There's lots of things that are not the way they were. We know how to keep people involved. And if you go to PaintToSafety.com, you can subscribe, and we'll give you more free information. We teach Biomi painting. We're also going to have courses for the caregivers and retirement courses, believe it or not, because you'll have to consider retirement as well. So the key and the most difficult part of everything is the suffering. Is it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. But I can tell you it's an incredible journey of learning and teaching. And what did they say? Your solutions become someone else's playbook because they need to get through their stuff as well. So that's what we're taking. And we need to create fruit that lasts. So we're looking at this long term to stay with people who are very down on themselves and injured and worn out. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've come after 30 years not to respect people of wealth, high education, or prestige. I have a tremendous softness in my heart for all the people who are the world's best triers, and that's my Biomi friends. So birds of a feather flock together. Painttosafety.com is on Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and at our site. You can find us no problem. Just to give you an example of what we focus on at painttosafety.com, we want to get you back to zero. So if you think about yourself as getting your brain injury or mental illness and being less than zero, less than 100%, or whatever, we're going to get you back to zero. So if you had dreams that you wanted to attain in your life, we're going to give you an opportunity to be healthy and strong enough to want to do that. So our basic skills course, Painting for Therapy, might teach you just how to paint in your own house and improve your surroundings physically, which once you've done that, can have a huge impact on your mental state and your emotional state. And to see how you can do that for yourself and affect your own family's mental state, then you can go on to Paid Pro Painter and consider doing that for others. It's not jumping into the business part of it yet, but it's painting for income, for friends, doing a couple bedrooms, maybe painting a fence or a deck, that kind of thing. Painting contractor, owning your own business. We've got spreadsheets, software, we've got everything you need. It's not very expensive. This is a very low cost business. There's two things that cripple businesses the most: rent and employees. So as a small painting business working out of your home, you do not have rental space and you do not have employees. So the economic upturns and downturns don't affect you as much. And then your next big thing is included in the cost of painting contractor, and it's called Beyond Painting. And all we're trying to do with your next big thing is remind you of the dreams you may have had, how applying all the skills of expense management and marketing in your business have got you to a much wider and broader headspace where you can be strong enough to go after your dreams again and maybe go back to school or whatever, and also with lots of information get back to something you wanted to do. Okay, so everyone, I'd just like to remind you to go to painttosafety.com and subscribe. We have a free ebook, 66 career tips for the brain injured or mentally ill, and we train the disaffected to win economically. That would be brain injuries, including PTSD and all sorts of mental illnesses. If anything is a brain issue, we want to help you. Our unique innovation for their stakeholders is kind of cool. You guys need something that you can measure and extrapolate. So we believe that we can get Biomi off the couch, doing something with shorter recovery times because they're doing something that is effective and works for them. And we can give them consistent, non-stabilized income. As I mentioned before, that my income year over year for 15 years was quite stable, but monthly ups and downs were quite high. This is equivalent to a commission sales job kind of thing, but when I earned the money, it was quite robust. And we think that the judgment of how you're doing is, do you fit into the community? If you're the highest second income earner on the block, then your family is, both parents are working, your kids are being raised, things are being managed, and inside your community, you have some self-esteem and some confidence because you're fitting in with that area of what your life is. You need to follow our rules. Like when we say create self-sustaining habits, if you don't consistently take those medications, I'm going to be honest with you, your ups and downs are just getting started. It's the number one success of me staying married is we've been able to have a normal, healthy functioning, drinking lots of fluids. If someone's down or whatever, just here, you need to drink some fluids, you need to get off the couch. So that might be a little cheesy, but creating self-supporting habits and routines is critical. Just to give you an idea of our mission statement that helps us focus in on how we take care of the Biomes, we want to take unhealthy, underproducing, unnoticed, unrecognized, brain injured and mentally ill people or second income earning spouses and turn them into healthy, strong, motivated small business owners who paint. What I mean by that, and the reason we say unhealthy, unnoticed, unrecognized, these are people that they're not being sold to by the marketplace. So they're not being included in the marketplace. They're not being included in our communities or our families and our life situations. And so we wonder why there's this whole 25% of the population that's struggling, even though they might be just spinning their wheels and doing as much as they can. They're not being effective in their own lives. We think that we can flip that on its head and be quite effective. And don't worry, there's lots to paint. There's so many rooms and fences and decks that many people would be happy to offload that work to someone who's trained and willing to do it. We want you, our painters, to be able to create big B businesses. So I noticed that when I'm at the stage past painting, it's been many hours and probably over a year and a half to 2 years of creating painttosafety.com. I would never have had that opportunity or energy to do so if I didn't have the lifestyle and everything set up the way I did. We're talking about big I investing. We're investing in people with our time and our energy. We're not talking about stocks. Somebody may need some money. Now, I'm not asking for money, but people will need big I investing. One of the things we do is find the work, do the work, get paid, and repeat. So it's marketing, operations, collections, and repeat. And that cycle can get you into a position where you can start to save and invest. And then our little course on retirement won't be very expensive. It'll be under a couple $100 or even less. And all it's designed to do is wrap your head around the possibility that regardless if you're a Biome, you can learn to save and invest and possibly consider retirement as well. I learned from a millennial that you don't need as much as they say you need to retire. So the $2.2 million is silly. The moonshot mentality was there for me to help to remind you that we can't look at the next 2 steps. We got to look a little farther down the line. So when we're helping all the Biomes and changing society, it's going to take a lot of people and a lot of effort. Let's do a recap of what does work. Self-esteem and confidence. If you've got someone who's 25, 35, 45 years old and they get in their car accident and get their first brain injury, they need to have some hope. They've accomplished something in their life already and they need to have some self-esteem and confidence. The jobs that they train for can be quite difficult for me to wrap my head around when you're starting from scratch all the time. So when we teach how to paint, we can get you to a proficient level quite quickly within anywhere from 1 to 6 months. Project-based with lots of downtime and energy management. Your exercise, your income, and your therapy need to be rolled into one. That 6 or 7 hours a day that you have energy for, the outside of that you need for your family and all your downtime. So you need to come and go as you please. It needs to be time flexible so that you can manage your illness. If you do have young kids, and I did, and when I was spinning my wheels, I was thinking, if I had been painting at that time, the balance would have been a lot better. So when you're paying for daycare and earning income, it doesn't make sense if they're the same. So it needs to be double for you to do that. It needs to be entrepreneurial. That's one of the solutions. It's low cost, it's quite effective, and we can maintain your success rate by making sure you have no rent or employees. So when you have no rent, you're working out of your house. employees, if you have a bigger project, you can bring another painter or a friend and maybe teach them the basic skills on how to paint a room. But when you have no employees, you pay by project, and that's all you need to do. And you need to be the boss. It's not hard to be the boss when you're project managing small projects, but that's a great skill that we teach. And you need to be mentored, so we're offering that. So Painting Works, for 15 years, the income was quite good, and it wasn't stabilized, so it was up and down on any given month, and it is cyclical with the winter in Canada. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for coming. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got 18 emails that we send you. We stop sending you emails after 18, so you don't get barraged with them. But if you want to learn more about how brain injuries or mental illness affects everyone in society and all the surrounding issues that go with that, it comes in an email with our blog attached. And so you can get the 66 Career Tips, the free ebook. You can get the 18 emails, and then we also have our blog that has some articles that we've written. Thank you, everybody.